Today.
Today.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody here that's going to be here. This work. Okay, good evening. I call this meeting of the Magnolia Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551. So if everybody would stand right now, Mr. Adcox is going to lead us in our invocation.
It's been a long-standing tradition here at Magnolia that we do start our school board meetings with a school board member giving a prayer. So if you'd like to pray with me, you're welcome to bow your heads at this time. Dear Father, we thank you again for all the blessings that you've bestowed upon us. We thank you for this great country that we live in, for the great state of Texas, and for our Magnolia community. We ask that you'll be with our military men and women, our first responders, our healthcare workers, our students, our teachers, all the MISD staff, and all of our parents, and our whole Magnolia community. And please protect us and keep us safe. We ask tonight that you'll be with us and help us to make the best decisions we can for our children and for our school district. We ask that you'll do the same for our Austin lawmakers as they go back in session, that they make the best decisions they can. And I ask and I pray this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. All right, so Cortland and Emery, y'all want to come up here and lead our pledges? And we'll do the U.S. pledge first, right? And you can speak in the microphone if you want. And just get us kicked off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Emery, you can lead us on a Texas pledge.
There you go.
Thank you. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Excellent, excellent. Emery, stay up here if you would. Cortland, you can have a seat.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens and board, for allowing Magnolia Parkway to have a voice this evening to celebrate our Student of the Month, Emery Sheffield. Emery is a fourth grader and has attended Magnolia Parkway since her kindergarten year. Emery is surrounded this evening by some of her biggest fans. Her dad, David, mom, Kelly, her older brother, Colton, and her sister was hoping to be able to be here, but she also has an older sister named Megan. We also have our assistant principal, Sarah Bellini, our counselor, Elisa Krug, her teachers, both former and present, Miss Natalie Caslow, Miss Leah Thompson, Miss Chandler Nash, Miss Shannon Douglas, Miss Kelly Llewellyn, Miss Stephanie Culler, Miss Brandy Hall, and Miss Jacqueline Finke. As you can tell, she's a popular gal. Mr. Rogers once said, "When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, 'Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping.'" It is very fitting that we are recognizing Emery at the start of 2021. Coming out of a year like 2020, it was Emery that stood out above the rest as one of the helpers. It was astounding how many of our staff at Magnolia Parkway described Emery with the exact same word, kind. But it wasn't just using that word to describe her that was so impressive. It was the passion used from each and every staff member that made it clear that Emery's kindness is one of a kind. When you Google kindness, a picture of Emery could literally be placed beside its description. It reads, at its very core, kindness is about empathy, being aware of your environment, and seeking ways to selflessly enrich the lives of others. My email was literally flooded with comments that spoke directly to this. So many, I chose to summarize them by saying, Emery's kindness for others is a light that shines so bright, it lights the way for others to be better. When her parents were asked what Emery's greatest strength was, their response was, without a doubt, Emery's biggest strength is her ability to approach life with genuine kindness. I think we're all definitely on the same page when seeing Emery's unique gift. In Emery's spare time, she enjoys spending time with her family, rock wall climbing, exploring the outdoors, drawing and painting, crafting and creating, and playing badminton and spike ball. Emery's kindness has no boundaries, and it extends to a love for animals as well. She would love to become a veterinarian. We have no doubt that she will reach this goal and much more. Emery, go forth and be the light. Congratulations. It is an honor to recognize you as Magnolia Parkway's Student of the Month. Emery Sheffield.
You ready? Okay. I'd like to thank Dr. Stevens and our school board for the opportunity tonight to present Magnolia Junior High's January Student of the Month, Courtland McCallum. Courtland is an 8th grader at MJH, and she is joined tonight by her father, Neil, who's in the back there, and her mother, Heather, who is actually a teacher at Magnolia West High School. Courtland also has a sister, Maya, who's a senior at West, who is has a really important soccer game tonight, which is why they're in the back there, because the McCallums are going to need to sneak out of here as soon as we're done. Listen, it's an honor to be here with Courtland tonight because she really exemplifies something that is important to us. You know, at MJH, it's our mission, or part of our mission anyway, to develop kids' character. And so each week, we give out teacher-nominated awards to students who are living out our 5 Mustang Pride character values, which are perseverance, respect, integrity, discipline, and excellence. At the end of every month, all those students get voted on by our teachers, and then we select from them our outstanding Mustang for that month. Grades are important. Extracurriculars are factored in. But above all, what matters most is what a student is doing to serve as an example to others, which is why Courtland is here tonight. Courtland plays volleyball and basketball at MJH. She's a member of National Junior Honor Society. She is one of 20 students out of 150 applicants who were selected for our peer assistance and leadership program. Outside of school, Courtland is a very accomplished soccer player herself, which means she has a special place in my heart. Now, if you were to ask most people in our school what value Courtland really most exemplifies, right? They're probably going to say respect. To see her around the halls of MJH is to see a young lady who is unfailingly polite to her teachers and her peers. A student who is kind at an age when kindness it comes at a pretty high premium. And she's also always willing to help. Courtland is someone who can be counted on. In fact, if you were to ask Courtland what value is most important to her, she would say respect too. In fact, she said respect is something that she thinks matters because it's an important part of making the world a better place. So that's all great, but what stood out to me was when she won this award, what a number of her teachers and coaches told me about Courtland that isn't on the surface. And to sum it up, I guess you could say that she perseveres in the pursuit of excellence. Her history teacher, Coach Strang, who is here tonight to support her, described Courtland as a go-getter on the court and in the classroom. Someone, he says, who is an ideal student, not just because of her grades, but because she is always determined to do her best. And I heard that again and again and again when I talked to her teachers. Behind the kindness, there is a fierce competitor who is always striving to be the best version of herself. Cortland told me that she is, after high school, interested in maybe going to Sam Houston or Texas A&M. There it is. Okay. And that she thinks she'd like to study to be a teacher. And I think with her qualities, we would all be super excited to welcome you into the profession. So, guys, please give a round of applause to Cortland McCallum, MJH's 8th grade student of the month.
This is awesome. You know, I think y'all would agree there's fruits of the Spirit dripping out of these ladies. And we got to thank the parents because, wow, what a great environment. That is just awesome. Kudos to you guys and the fan club you brought with you. So we've got a certificate and probably another thing or two. But Cortland, here is yours. Emery, here is yours. Let me make sure I got that right. I think I did, yeah. Without my glasses, I'm not quite sure. But I would say to y'all that, you know, we do this 8 or 9 times a year, 2 students. So let's do the math, 16, 18 students. And our district has 13,000 more or less students. So you're in thin air. It's quite an honor. And so we want to shower you guys with praise and acknowledge all the good work you're doing and keep it up because we want to see you up here again. For other reasons or for these reasons, it doesn't matter. We want to see you again. This is the part, and the acknowledgments we'll have later, the part of the meeting that we enjoy because it's we see the fruits of the labor from all the things that go on here. So congratulations. I think you're next.
That's probably my favorite part of a board meeting. We get to recognize, that's feeding back a little bit. Recognize our students of the month. It's a great time. Well, I mean, second favorite is when we get to recognize our teacher of the month too, because it takes great teachers to have great students and obviously great parents. One time out of the year that I never really look forward to is in January when we have, I'll just pick this up and you can turn it down a little bit. There, is that better? Yeah, that's feedback. Across the state of Texas, January is School Board Appreciation Month. So school districts all across the state of Texas are honoring and paying homage to those people who step up and serve as elected officials in our 1,050-something school districts across the state of Texas. And I guess the reason I don't really look forward to this is because in some way it befalls me to say thank you to this group for what you do for us in Magnolia ISD. And there's no way in the world I can put into words how much this school board means to our school district. Now, I've served with some really good school boards through the years in my, well, I mean, it's close to 25-something years, or 15-something as a superintendent. Served with some great boards, and some of you have been with some of those other boards, but I really do believe that of all the boards I've had a chance to serve with, this is probably the best and maybe my favorite out of all those groups I've served with. But no, really I am, all kidding aside, I am so proud of the work of this group. Now, teachable moment for some of our students here. School trustees in the state of Texas they're elected officials, but they serve without any kind of compensation. They're not employees of a school district. They don't get a salary. They don't get any kind of financial benefits. Once a month, they get some cookies for being School Board Recognition Month. But they do have a huge job, because on their shoulders is basically the success and the direction of our school district. And I want to tell you that you have a group of elected officials up here now that first and foremost, they love and care for our students just like they were their own. And all of them are stakeholders in that. They've all had kids that were a part of this school district. And I just want to tell you, whether it was their kids or if it's your kids or any of those other ones, they make decisions like they would as a mom or a dad, with the heart of a school board member as a parent. And I just, having the opportunity to sometimes see what things look like in other places besides Magnolia, we are truly blessed with the type of leadership we have in our school board, that they don't have, agendas beyond. We're going to do what's best for all the children in Magnolia ISD. And we want to become the best district in the state of Texas, Dr. Stevens. And whatever that takes, let's get out there and make it work. And they work tirelessly for that. And I'll tell you, they don't get paid, but they put in a heck of a lot of hours to help us get to become the best district in the state of Texas. And again, I am just so privileged that I have an opportunity to work with them on a regular basis. They spend a lot of time away from their family so they can make this district better for all the families in this community. And so I would like for all of us, happens once a year, to give them a round of applause and thank you for the work they've done to help Magnolia ISD be the kind of district where we want to be in. Thank you, school board. We appreciate you. If you would. They don't like that type of attention, but they have to endure it once a year, and sometimes a little bit at convocation. I kind of get to kid with them a little bit, but truly we do thank you and appreciate all your hard work that goes into this. So.
Oh, absolutely. We just want to, all of us up here have, we serve because we want to, and we serve because we want to keep the main thing the main thing. We want to look after our students. We want to look after our teachers. We're in it for the right reasons, and sometimes decisions get challenging because it's not easy kind of confronting a lot of the things that we have to confront from time to time. But hey, if it was easy, anybody would do it, and we want to be a special district, so that's why we do what we do. So the recognition thing is, and I'm not kidding about that, it's the best part of the night, because we get to see the fruits of the graduation too, the fruits of the labor. It's really cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Dr. Garza, I think, is up next.
All right, good evening. Excuse me. It's my pleasure to be up here once again to talk about our Teacher of the Month for Magnolia ISD. Each month, we ask our principal to submit names for us, and we look for teachers that exhibit 3 really important qualities that we look for in teachers. First and foremost, they exhibit leadership inside and outside the classroom. We look for people that have a positive team player mentality, and of course, instructional excellence. And so our award winner this month is from Magnolia West High School. Her name is Miss Nieves Woodward. Nieves, come up here, please. She is joined tonight by Dr. Ben King and Shay Garland. She's also joined by her husband tonight and her son, Andrew, who is a product of Magnolia ISD, Magnolia West High School. I had the pleasure of working with Nieves for 3 years during my time at West, and she is a phenomenal teacher. She is super smart, very, 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 very passionate, a strong leader, and very dedicated to the kids. She has quite the gathering of following of kids on campus. And my niece had her, who graduated last year, and still to this day, even at Thanksgiving, was asking about Mrs. Woodward. So she's an outstanding teacher, and we were truly blessed to have her.
Thank you, Dr. Garza, and thank you, Dr. Stevens, the school board, for allowing us to present Ms. Woodward here to you tonight as the Magnolia West High School Teacher of the Month. As I thought about what I was going to say about Ms. Woodward tonight, I thought of something that I've never actually told her, so watch out, but that I've told plenty of other people. So, you know, all the things that Dr. Garza said are true about Ms. Woodward. She is phenomenal in the classroom. She does an excellent job with her students. She pushes them to learn at high levels. There's lots of creativity and intellectual risk-taking, but she teaches boundaries and responsibility and respect. And she teaches freshmen and seniors, which that's quite a task to be able to go between those two age groups. But anytime Ms. Woodward does something excellent, and maybe it's another teacher tells me about it, or oftentimes it's another administrator, I always pay her a compliment that I can't think of a higher compliment I can pay. And I always say, yeah, Ms. Woodward is a professional educator. And so Ms. Woodward's Teacher of the Month because of her excellence in the classroom, but for me, Ms. Woodward works great with other teachers. She's a great teammate. She works great with the administrators that lead our building. She works great with district administrators. She's awesome with the parents of the students that she serves. And she's a great role model for our community. And when I say she's a professional educator, what I mean is that she shows that there's more to being a great teacher than what you do in the classroom. And I never have to worry about Ms. Woodward. She's always going to do the right thing, and she's always going to be a good example for Magnolia West High School. And so that's why it's my pleasure to present her as Teacher of the Month this month. Yeah. And here's Ms. Shay Garland.
And I knew they were going to take all of the good stuff making me last, but there are so many things to say about Ms. Woodward. The word that comes to mind for me is flexible. I've watched you grow from English 1 team lead to department chair, virtual teacher for the district, leading the IB program, 100% scores. I don't think there's anything that you can't do. So thank you for being a leader to your team, your department, and a friend to me.
All right, so we now have a quick video, and then we'll have an MEF presentation.
This year I just, like so many teachers, was unsure of whether or not I was doing my best job. And this really makes me feel a little bit more confident that maybe I'm making a difference in connecting with my students. Being able to show them how important communication. It's a privilege to communicate with confidence. Feeling like what you think comes through clearly to your audience, that's a skill I want my kids to lead with. I want them to feel like no matter what they face in the world, they can communicate their ideas and be respected for them.
I like Ms. Woodward a lot because she's really good at connecting with her students and kind of balancing that discussion-based learning while answering questions and kind of helping meet all of her needs. I think I've really grown as a writer and speaker throughout the presentations and essays in this class.
I don't feel like I work, I feel like it's just an opportunity to play every day and talk about books and talk about writing and exchange ideas and argue about ideas. And teaching IB for sure has been at the top of the list of those things, but I love seeing my freshmen advance. I get both sides of the spectrum. So they come into high school and I work with them, and then a lot of my students come back to me as IB seniors, and I get to see that progress and I get to see that evolution and the light in their eyes.
She always makes sure that she has time for us and makes time for us. I really feel like she wants us to succeed and is helping us every single way.
I was very surprised and excited about being selected. It's humbling. I work with tremendous professionals. My department, the English department here at Magnolia West, are phenomenal. Every day at West has felt like they come around you and they support you with so much love. You know that they're never here with anything more than support.
Thank you. I want on behalf of the Magnolia Education Foundation, we sponsor the Teacher of the Month, as well as HEB, Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's, Gringos, The Meeting Place, and we would just have some gifts of appreciation and want to thank you for all that you do.
So, Dr. Todd, he was talking about the board a minute ago, but it is not lost on us that the heavy hitting, the heavy lifting goes on with the administration, the fantastic administration we have, and the teachers in the classroom, like Ms. Woodward. So we just thank you so much for everything y'all do. It doesn't go lost on us again that's where all the majority of the work around this place happens. And he was talking about the board a minute ago, and speaking of administration, I think when they've had principals night, I think they got to go home or didn't even show up, I think. So we've decided since this, we'll
Wait
just
a
go ahead
minute
and leave.
now. No, it doesn't work that way. No, it doesn't work that. But Ms. Woodward, look, we hope maybe we got you out of your comfort zone a little bit, but that's okay. That's what tonight's about, and it really makes us feel good to honor some of our best, and tonight, that's you, and we appreciate everything you do for our students, and you make their world a little brighter and special, and really though, this month, you get a chance to represent all the teachers in Magnolia ISD as we celebrate them, and you're kind of a representative for them. And it's fitting that our community's here. Here's HEB, here's Chick-fil-A, here's our Magnolia Education Foundation, because they also want to stand up and say thank you for helping make this a great place for kids to go. So thank you from the bottom of our heart. Appreciate what you do for our kids. Another round of applause for her. We can't give her enough bits. And then I'll talk to the principal about that 9th grade senior assignment thing. Maybe we can't figure that out some way, Just saying,
All right. Coach Burnett, you're next.
Dr. Stevens and School Board, I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity tonight to be able to recognize the 8-5A district champions tonight. With the uncertainty of the season, the Bulldogs demonstrated resilience and determination throughout the summer and the season with all the COVID protocols. They are extremely hardworking and deserving with an undefeated district record of 8-0, a district that is considered one of the toughest districts in Class 5A. Offensively, they scored 435 points, along with a stingy defense that only allowed 176 points in 12 games. The 2020 Magnolia Bulldogs were area finalists with a record of 10-2. We are extremely proud of their accomplishments and how they represented Magnolia High School and Magnolia ISD. And at this time, I'd like to introduce the 2020 District 8-5A Football Coach of the Year, Coach Martin.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate being here. It's an honor to say thank you to some important people, that's for sure. School board members and Dr. Stevens. We really do. I know it gets repetitive, but we really do. We are very blessed with extremely supportive leadership, whether that's from a district level or from a campus level, and so we're super blessed to be able to do what we do and be able to do what we do. Like Coach Burnett said at the very beginning of the year, as we all know, very unsure times of what school would look like, much less athletic competitions, and football being one of those that, honestly, it's really tough sometimes to see what even the possibilities of a football season were. Just about every other sport out there is somewhat able to do some social distancing within the competition, whereas football is a full contact body sport, and so we were really worried what that would even look like. And to have the support and the belief and the trust from the district leadership in Magnolia is unbelievable. To be able to have these guys in our facilities as soon as we were able to, and to just know that we had the backing of this community and the school district itself is second to none. So thank you you guys for that, because it's not possible without, it really is, it's a community effort. Certainly had a really good year, finished the season 10-2. There was a lot of good things. I could stand up here all night long and talk about all the things that I'm proud of these guys for. But, ultimately, winning football games is certainly important, and we did a lot of that. But there's a lot of other things that I'm proud of for this team and this group of guys and these coaches. We're not as big of a group tonight. We've got a lot of guys that are involved in other things. We've got guys at work. We've got guys at lacrosse. We've got guys, should have had a couple play basketball. We had to cancel that tonight because of COVID. Not on our end, by the way. We've got some soccer games going on, so it's just a busy time of year, and as soon as football season ends, guys kind of scatter. So I'm happy to have some of these guys and these coaches here tonight. I'm going to introduce the ones that are here, and then I'll say a couple of things about the rest of the team as we go. Number 6, Ross Choate. So just kind of wave your hand and be recognized. And spread out. There's a couple big guys over there. Number 8, Ernie Mendoza. Number 13, Tevin Jemison. Number 17, Marcus Childs. Number 18, Will Alexander. Number 20, Grayson Baker. Number 23, Blaine Dunn. Number 25, Eliel Sandoval. Number 26, Garrison Hefner. Number 28, John Alexander. Number 30, Evan Asnar. Number 34, Michael Carter. Number 35, Carson McAnally. Number 44, Tyler Lalou. Number 46, Quentin Lucas. Number 48, Ben Colligan. Number 51, John Mitchum. Number 52, Mason Feldman. Number 55, Zach Wilson. Number 60, Braden Quinlan. Number 67, Alejandro Morel. Number 71, Casey Curtis. Number 73, Carson Mitchell. Number 82, Ryan Langford. Number 88, Michael Salas. Did I miss anybody, fellas? Awesome. And then our little run-through guru over there, my little one, Brewer. So yeah, obviously we did some really good things. Success on the field was certainly a special year, and even more special given all the difficult circumstances that we had. But the other thing that I think sometimes goes unnoticed, we had 20 guys that were academic all-state of our 70. Which is a huge accomplishment. You can double that with academic all-district, so you're looking at 38 to 40 of our 70 guys that were recognized as academic all-district. We had, of our starting 11 offensive players, we had 9 of those guys go first team all-district. Of our starting 11 defensive guys, we had 9 of those also go first team all-district. I would anticipate some all Montgomery County awards coming soon. I think that comes out at the end of the week. The other thing and let me not forget to do that, but our coaching staff, some of our coaching staff is here. My assistant head coach, Wayne Childs, Coach Michael Knopp, our defensive coordinator, one of the best in the state, Coach Chase Hargis, Coach Tyler Gessner, coaches our tight ends and fullbacks, Coach Newman, who's hiding back there in the back, I see him, our offensive coordinator, Josh McNeil, our wide receivers coach, David Allison, our quarterbacks coach, Josh Keith, and our running backs coach, J.P. Norman. So huge thank you to those guys. They work extremely long hours and extremely tirelessly, and they're also phenomenal teachers in the classroom. And it's a total picture, right? But I want to say thank you again to the school board, Dr. Stevens, the rest of our district administration, our campus administration, and ultimately the support of the community. It was really, really awesome to have the fan support that we did, not really knowing what that would look like. If at one point it was talked about, playing in empty stadiums, and that is a really, really weird way to play football. And I tell our guys all the time, if you don't have the whole picture, if you don't have band and you don't have cheerleaders and you don't have dance and you don't have all of that going on, then it's a really strange environment to play football. So I appreciate the community coming out, pushing us towards the max of our capacities at the stadiums each week, because not every kid in the state of Texas that plays football gets to play in front of crowds of supportive community members, and we can't thank you guys enough. So appreciate being here.
Hey, and Coach Martin, I just want to say thank you for being in Magnolia ISD. And one thing I've always heard through my career in education is you take a coach and you put them with a team, and that team will eventually take on the personality of that coach. And I always want to say, we got a class act of kids here, and I think a lot of it's because of you, sir. Thank you for being here.
All right, Dr. Campbell, you're next.
Coach Martin, I just wanted to say that I don't know that social distancing is that tough in football. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and we've been doing that for years on defense. So, my name is Foy Campbell, and I work with Fine Arts and the Career and Technical Education here in the district. And Mr. Blizzard, school board members, and Dr. Stevens, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to highlight one of our students. Each year, PBK Architects ask students to draw their school that are designed by PBK. Several of our schools are. These school drawings are then voted on by the PBK architects, and the winners are displayed in a calendar, this year the 2021 calendar. This year, one of our Bear Branch Intermediate School students, Addie Sanchez, entered her rendering of BBIS and won. Her picture is on the calendar in June, and I'll show it to you real quick. There you go. It's hard to see. Pardon me? That's the best month in the school calendar. You guys have your copy? Okay. So she's in June, and you might want to give her some of those calendars. She's joined tonight here by her principal, Ms. Connie Flinsky, waving us back there, and also her art teacher, Ms. Tara Ratliff. She's over here. Thank you for being here tonight. Also, she brought a whole host of people from her family. We've got Mom over here, Brother Jackson over here. We've got Mama and Pawpaw sitting over there. We've got Dad and Cody, I think, in the back, and Brother Eli, and then Abuela's here as well. So thank you for being here and supporting her. And Addie is the perfect example of what I've been trying to do for years, and just because she's the representative of that doesn't mean that has anything to do with me. But I've been an advocate for our artists for years, and what I tell our teachers over and over again, let's look for every opportunity, every contest, every way to get our students' art in front of other people so they get to see it. And so Addie, last year, represented her school at the Rodeo Art Contest here at this school. And then this year, when the contest came out, her teacher said, hey, anybody want to do this? And because of her success at that Rodeo Art show, she went, hey, I think I can do that. And she did that on her own. So it wasn't classwork. She took it on her own. And then this year again, she was represented at the Rodeo Art Show here in Magnolia. And each year she's done better at the Rodeo Art Show. Her goal is to make it down to Houston here pretty soon. But that's just a way that, an example that I wanted to share with you that art advocacy works. Getting our students' artwork in front of other people. And we'll be rolling out here in the next couple of months some ways to do that with community in banks and restaurants and things like that, where our art students' work is displayed in our community. And Sweetwater's already on board. Several other First Financial Bank is on board, and so we're going to be looking for other ways to get our students' artwork out there. So, Addie, congratulations. I have for you a calendar for you, a calendar for your dad, and a calendar for your mom. And if you can steal one of those from the school board members, you might have some for Abuela and Mama and Papa. And let's give her a big round of applause. Very proud of you.
Absolutely. That was awesome. Thank you for that. It's a great part of the night to be celebrating as many recognitions we have. That's the funnest part of the night for us. But are we done for now?
With this part.
Okay.
We don't always know one of the artists, and so this one is awesome. Thank you for sharing your talent.
Yeah, we appreciate
We're
that.
going to share your picture with our architect. I think you do better work than he does sometimes. So.
Oh, that's so true.
Sad but true.
If you're out there watching this, Phil.
That's right, that's right. Well, so we encourage you to stay, but if you want to slip out the back during our 5-minute break we're about to take, you certainly feel free to do so. So thank you very much. The break police had us come back. Ms. Hinkleman, I've got one signed up to speak. Do we have anybody else? Okay. Okay. Now, while you're coming up here, Ms. Fussell, I've got something I'll read right quick. Let's see, and it says here, this is what we read before anybody that wants to speak, so indulge me, please. Participants must have turned in a request form 15 minutes prior to the start of this meeting. Participation is limited to 3 minutes. Any complaint or charge brought against an employee by name opposition for which resolution has not been sought in accordance with policy should be pursued through the district's grievance policy. Please note that the Board of Trustees shall not deliberate, respond, or make decisions regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda that is posted. But with that, thank you for coming, and our ears are open, and we want to hear what you have to say.
All right. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak. I was raised right here in Magnolia by free-thinking parents. They taught me to be this way. You make choices, good and bad, there will be consequences. Could be good, could be bad, but either way, you made choices. It seems we've created a society that does not know how to think without someone telling them what to think. We have lost the aspect of personal responsibility somewhere. Those in power think they know better what would be good for our families. No discussion necessary. More and more, we're not even allowed to be free thinkers. Someone else just decides. Other than at school, no one in our home has worn a mask at all. I don't believe breathing your own carbon dioxide is healthy. Not one of us has contracted COVID. And that's not to say that we won't, but when or if we do, we'll stay away from other people just like we would with any other contagious illness because we're responsible adults, responsible, free-thinking adults who know how to make decisions for themselves and their families. Respectfully, you do not know what's best for my family, just as I don't know what's best for yours or anyone else's. This should be a choice. If you want to wear a mask, then wear one. We do not look down on, nor do we demonize those who choose this, but it should be a choice. And I want to close with a few statements from a couple students who have expressed what they can't come up here and express. Student 1, I dread going to school every day because of having to wear a mask. Ever since we started back to school, I have headaches and feel like I can't breathe sometimes, especially when I've had it on for a long time. I try to take breaks and breathe like my mom suggested, but then I get in trouble by teachers if it goes below my nose. Some teachers don't even wear them the right way, but they still make us. One of my teachers said, "I don't want to die today," when she told someone to pull their mask up.
I don't feel like I can concentrate at school as good as I used to because of the mask. School just isn't fun to me anymore, and sometimes I beg my mom to homeschool me, but she can't because she doesn't have time because she works. I wish we could go back to the way school was before. Student 2. Wearing the mask in school is extremely annoying. We have to wear them while we do our sports, while we're inside the gym, in class. It falls when we talk. We get yelled at, even if it's noticeable that it's too big and we can't help it. Some teachers tell us repeatedly to put it on when they don't wear it correctly. If you wear glasses, it's extremely hard because they fog up. Now you have two things rubbing on your ears. Some masks rub and hurt your face. You also can barely hear when people talk. I dislike wearing the masks at school because we only get to take them off at lunch or when we drink water. And the last student, gosh, I'm so tired of having to wear a mask all the time in school. I just want to see people's faces again. I want to laugh with my friends. I want to walk in the hallways without being yelled at. Just because my mask is below my nose, it's so hard to express my emotion properly anymore, and it's affected my personal life so much. My depression has never been so bad before. Thank you, Magnolia. Right now, all I can do is just trust God and know that He has this under control and it will all be okay eventually. Thank you.
Thank you for your time to come share tonight, Ms. Fuzzle. We appreciate that. You know, just to inject a couple of comments, the mask is one of the most divisive issues of our time. We all know that. And none of us enjoy wearing these things. And the part of the struggle, part of the issue is we've got the weight of 13,000 plus students and 1,000 plus employees on our shoulders when trying to make these decisions. So we have to take all of the information in and try to guide, help each other guide us through this thing as best we can. But thank you for your comments. Our ears are always open and we appreciate it.
I'll echo the thought that you shared with us about the student. My prayer is also that very soon this will be over and we can get back to what looks like normal for us. But I just also thank the Lord that so far this year, and partly because of the mask, it's been a fairly normal looking year for our kids. But thanks so much for sharing with us.
Right. I mean, I think it's quite remarkable. There's districts around that have shut down and all that. We want things back to normal as fast as we can. There's no doubt about it. So thank you. Dr. Todd, you're next, I think.
Uh-oh. I'm just trying to think what else I had. I think I've done, I spilled everything I had, thanking you guys, you know, for how much we appreciate you during that portion of it. And I think the other thing just to interject is that we want to continue to be active on the legislative forefront, and I know we're working diligently sort of behind the scenes to look at looking at some legislative priorities that we can pass on to our elected officials, and that you guys are, I know you're very aware of that, and we've been talking about a lot of those priorities we want to talk to them about, and it's accountability and testing, and, you know, from the finance front, and there's some issues about attendance that we need to look at, and we need to express those, and we're just trying to, you know, craft that, and I want everybody to be aware we are out there on that, and those guys have they've just taken up the session, and they figured out how to come into session and actually have it, and I think Christy said you're actually going to go down and attend for some other function, lobbying as a part of that, and so but it does sound like we are going to be able to go to the Capitol and be there. You may have to actually take a test before you get in that day, but it looks like we're going to be, so we may talk about student leadership and trying to figure out some way to maybe get some of those kids down there for that. I think they have to be invited for some parts of it, but I think maybe something we can look into. So I think they've landed on a little more of the lenient side of allowing people to be there. But anyway, we are working on that forefront. But again, thank you too for your service for you guys. But
thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, sir. That's your report?
I think so.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to move on to our consent agenda. And this portion of the agenda consists of items that are routine and enacted by one motion unless separate discussion is requested. So the question is separate discussion requested? Are we all good? Okay, we need a motion that we approve consent agenda items 8A through D. Motion by Chuck, seconded by Kelly. All in favor? That motion passes. Okay, Mr. Bolt, we're going to talk about our audit, I believe.
Yes, sir. Good evening, board. My name is Daniel Hebert. I am with Belt Harris Pahacek. We are the school district's independent auditing firm. I'm here to present the audit for the fiscal year ending August 31st, 2020 tonight. Before I begin, I would just like to thank Dr. Morris and his staff. It's 10,000 things that these people have to do right all year long to comply with all the rules and regulations that the state bestows upon us. And it's sort of our job as auditor to go in and nitpick all of their work, right? So I just wanted to take a moment to recognize all their hard work throughout the year. So I will be presenting out of this book tonight. You should all have a copy in front of you. I'm going to try and keep my presentation very brief, and then I'll take any questions. First, we'll start on page 7. I can draw it out as long as you'd like, trust me. Dr. Morris knows. He spent plenty of time on the phone with me. Page 7 is the first page of our independent auditor's report. This is where we express our opinion as the district's independent auditor on the financial statements. We are pleased to say that we have expressed an unmodified opinion on the district's financial statements. This is the highest level of assurance that we as independent auditors can give, that the school district's financial statements are materially correct and in compliance with all the rules and regulations required by the generally accepted accounting principles of the United States. Flip with me to page 23. On page 23, we have what's called a statement of net position. This is a government-wide financial statement presented like a balance sheet. This specific financial statement is very long-term in nature. It's going to carry all the capital assets and long-term liabilities of the district. I'll just point out that the district ended the year with total assets of about $264 million, total liabilities of about $261 million, leaving us with an ending net position of about $7.7 million. I will note that that ending net position number in the past has reflected as a negative number as a result of bringing on these new accounting principles, GASB 68 and 75, that require that the district add on to its government-wide balance sheet the net pension liability as part of TRS and the net OPEB liability as part of TRS Care. As we went throughout the years, the district has really strived. Dr. Morris and I have had this conversation to bring that number up back to a positive number. We are there at a positive $7.7 million. So it is always good on the district. Many school districts still are struggling with that number and kind of starting to carry that burden. So if you'll flip back with me to page 26. Page 26 is a similar financial statement presented as a balance sheet. However, this is at the fund level, which means it's more of the budgetary basis that you're used to looking at, sort of year-to-year type of activity. I'll just point out that, again, the general fund this year ended the year with total assets of about $38.5 million, total liabilities of about $4.5 million, and an ending fund balance of $32 million. If you'll flip back to page 30. Again, same type of presentation here, more on a budgetary basis. However, we're looking at an income statement. This shows total revenues and expenditures for the district. As you can see, the general fund ended the year with total revenues of $119 million, total expenditures of $118 million, and after some transfers out, we had a positive net change in general fund balance of $387,000. The rest of the funds I'm not going to get too in depth. There is a unique item we have this year that's not typically presented on this financial statement, and that is the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund. This is part of the aid that came from the CARES Act to the district. That was enough money to require that we present it as a major fund this year, so it is presented here for 2020. That may change for 2021, but just something to point out. As a general indicator of financial health, we look at ending fund balance as a percentage of expenditures. For the general fund, we typically like to see about 3 months worth of expenditures captured in that fund balance. In ending the year with the $32 million that I mentioned, that's about 27% of overall expenditures, or a little bit more than 3 months, so a healthy fund balance in the general fund. With that, I'll take any questions you might have. I know it's a lot of information to consume all at once. So if you do come across any questions, feel free to send them to Dr. Morris, and he can pass them along to us as well.
Well, so I'm sorry I got your name wrong when I was introducing you.
No
but,
problem.
I do have a question. Can you make any qualitative, you do work for a lot of districts, so can you make any qualitative comments about how a district, other districts our size compare to us?
I think in general, it's hard for me personally to say. You know, I work on only a handful of school districts myself. I am the project manager over the district schools, the district's audit, so I have worked with Dr. Morris and his staff for several years. In general, I think that the district itself is presented with a lot of unique challenges, especially in the area of the state we're in, and at the same time that the response to those challenges has been incredibly strong. So I would say overall, at least based on our experience with our clients, very good.
Was the COVID relief money a little bit of a challenge to try to pull together this year?
So that is why ultimately I had to be the pain in the side. Yes, ultimately yes. We did not get guidance from the federal government on how to approach those from an auditing perspective until roughly 4 p.m. on Christmas Eve. So it would, you know, without that guidance, it's hard for us to kind of pass that along to school districts. So we were waiting on that for a while, but thankfully it did come through, and we were able to get that through for the district.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
We appreciate the work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, before Dr. Wonderful here, we need a motion here for the to approve the 2019-20, no, is that right? Yeah, 19-20, get my dates right. Financial audit as presented. We need a motion to approve that. Sonia first, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor? That motion passes.
Yeah, I guess I'll piggyback on that just real quick. We do appreciate the efforts of Daniel and his staff, of course, and sorry I failed to tell you that it wasn't Robert Belt presenting tonight. So it was a great audit, and we appreciate their effort for sure. So thank you. I guess next on the agenda is the consideration of a resolution for some bonus pay. Just a quick background, I know the board is aware of this, but for others in attendance. Obviously, we know that the COVID-19 pandemic has introduced new challenges and responsibilities for our employees, and you guys charged the district administration with creating a one-time bonus pay or incentive pay consideration for the springtime.
What did they do?
It was our school board of trustees. These 7 folks, it's School Board Appreciation Month, and I think folks are fixing to say thank you again, if you will. But no, our board, these folks here, charged the district administration with creating a one-time bonus pay for the springtime, and so we took that information and sat down and looked at available resources. And also an attempt to remain equitable, if you will, for touching all of our employees. And so tonight we are recommending a $500 one-time incentive or bonus pay for this March 15th, sort of going into spring break, similar to what we've done the last couple of years around Thanksgiving. This $500 will be for all district employees. We're excited about that. I know the board's intent was to show some appreciation to our folks and our commitment to them for all the things that they've done associated with COVID, in addition to their day jobs, so to speak. So, again, tonight we're proposing the approval of a resolution to allow us to move forward with that, should the board approve it. Be happy to answer any questions.
We have done something similar in November
Yes, ma'am.
of this past year.
We did, and I'll go back just quickly, if that's okay. You know, with the uncertainties of the economic future, we were certainly cautious in giving raises and the gift that keeps on giving, so to speak. And so going back to even 1920, you know, we did the bonuses associated with HB3, where we gave 500, 750, and 1,000, depending on tenure. And then last August, we gave $1,000 to all educators. And then this past November, yes, ma'am, we gave $500 to all employees, non-administrative. And so this will be very similar to that, what we're recommending, but we are recommending $500 for all employees.
Which includes this group right out here.
I told you you're fixing to get the applause.
Is not something that y'all signed up for or learned to do when you got your education certificate. Yeah, so we appreciate it. We know not only do you have families at home you're trying to handle, but you're handling the families of 13,500 kids, and it doesn't go unnoticed, so we appreciate you.
Well, I know, speaking for this group, and you know, they don't need anybody to speak for them, but, you know, the intent was just to say, we know it's been tough, and sometimes from the outside looking in, it doesn't look like that, you know, it looks kind of normal, we're having school, but, you know, it's taken a major effort for our teachers, for our administration to get us up and running this year. And you know, even for our custodians and bus drivers, it's been a challenge, but we've made it work. And the boards, what their words were earlier, so we want to make sure they hear a thank you from their administration and from this school board for what they have done. We know it's different. We wish it could be more than that, but they told, you know, Dr. Morris, work with what we have. And so, you know, when you go $500 around, it starts getting big in a hurry. But I think it will certainly be appreciated. And so on behalf of, speaking for all the rest of that group, thank you all for putting your money and other stuff where their time and commitment has been. And I know it will be appreciated, certainly will be. You know, and that goes from cafeteria workers up through principals there. Everybody except the superintendent is included in all that, so.
Well, I also wanted to say, just hearing stories of everyone's personal life, of what you've been through in your own homes, and you step up every single day and make it all about the kids and the students, and just, we can't thank you enough for that. You're the front line, and you just come every day with a great attitude and doing your best, so can't say thank you enough.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, we appreciate the thanks, but it really is directed at y'all, because we realize who's doing the heavy lifting around here and who's, the challenge doubled, and we get it, we see it, how could we not? Anybody in our shoes would do the same thing, and it's all about how much more can we do, and that's what we want to do. So thank you guys for everything you do. So now we need a motion to approve this resolution establishing a one-time incentive pay program for Magnolia ISD employees.
Does Mr. Morris need to read the resolution?
Oh, does he? That's, yeah.
2 pages.
Exactly. That's right.
It's 500 and only.
Okay, Chuck, motion first, seconded by Sonia. All in favor? That motion easily passes. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And before.
Thank you.
And Mr. Blizzard, before I pass the mic to Dr. Bullock, I wanted to take just a quick moment to introduce one of our new employees who had a heavy hand in our recent audit, and I know I told you about her last month, but our new Executive Director of Finance is here, Ms. Selena Jackson, so let's welcome her, please. And so Ms. Jackson comes to us from Pine Tree ISD in Longview, where she was serving as the Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Chief Financial Officer for the district, and Had worked several years as director of finance there, and also, I believe, about 10 years as an accountant in the hospital industry. She has her MBA from UT Tyler, and is TASBO certified, and just has a world of knowledge as it relates to the business operations. And so we're very lucky to have her, and so I guess officially welcome. I don't think some of the principals have met you yet either, so now y'all know who to go to, or blame, however you want to look at it. Thank you, board.
You're on deck, Dr. Bullock.
Thank you, Mr. Blizzard. It's kind of a hard act to follow, the guy that is getting approval on handing out $500, but yes, maybe I can make up for it by being brief. This is Policy Update 116, and I attempted to find some things of substance to discuss with you this evening, but this is housekeeping, pure and simple. So about the most substantive thing in the policy update touches on 5 local policies, GKA local dealing with community relations and complaints refers to, we've now defined those as calendar days before an appeal can get in front of the board instead of school work days. So that's substance. Policy update 116 really is just housekeeping. We're removing some things from policy that we don't believe belong in there and clarifying a few other things. So if you have any questions, I know you guys have reviewed this beforehand, but it needs to be on the agenda so that we could move forward with being on the consent agenda for next month and your approval. I'll take any questions you have.
This for review, no motions needed, so if anybody has any questions.
Calendar days
Yes, ma'am.
versus school days?
Yes, ma'am. It's kind of small stuff, but you know, we want the policy manual to be correct, so.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you, sir. This was not the most exciting part of the night. That's right, that's right. Okay, Dr. Garza, you're up next, I think.
He really was looking for something to talk about. He really was.
We tried.
It can be tough.
We tried.
Oh, got my clicker.
It's a long walk up here.
Okay, well, good evening once again. So we are here tonight to present our House Bill 3 Early Childhood and CCMR goals. So this came out of the last legislative session, so 2019. These were to be enacted last year, but with the school closure, TA extended the deadline for 1 more year. So we will kind of go into what this all looks like in just one. Turn it on first. There you go. Okay, so House Bill 3 requires districts to set goals regarding early childhood literacy and math, as well as goals for developing college-ready graduates. And so for the sake of tonight, what they deem early childhood literacy and math is going to be 3rd grade STAR tests for math and reading. As far as college-ready graduates, that is our CCMR score, which has a tremendous impact on our high school accountability and our district accountability as well. Our plan must include the following. There's a district level administrator, which is myself, to submit annual reports to the board on our progress, an annual review by the board at a public meeting, and specific quantifiable annual goals for 5 years at each campus and the district. So each elementary has set goals for their campuses, and our 2 high schools have set their our 3 high schools have set their CCMR goals. What you have in front of you now are the district goals for our holistic score. Our early childhood plans are required to include annual goals for student growth on 3rd grade math and reading at the MEETS level. So the MEETS level, remember, is the 2nd level of passing. There's approaches, MEETS, and masters. So it's at the MEETS level. And we have to set annual targets for each subgroup, which is kind of challenging because those groups change every year, and sometimes they count and sometimes they don't count. As far as the CCMR readiness plans, those are to have goals on graduation rates for our seniors, and I'll kind of go into that later on, but we have to set the same thing, targets for each subgroup, and a holistic approach to that. So that's kind of the rules of the game, and then I'm going to have Shay and Susie go into their areas for literacy and math. Shay?
So as Dr. Garza mentioned, we're talking meets performance for third grade reading. That would be performing at about 76 proficiency on the test, which is a pretty tall order for third graders. So you can see we've kind of scaled from our baseline in 2019. We were at 39% of our students at meets. We are going to be very proud of ourselves if we can kind of maintain with a very small increase this year, given all of our challenges. We didn't want to shoot too high. That doesn't mean we don't have high expectations, but we do want to be realistic. But you can see that percentage increases as we go into 22, mostly because we will have the reading academies from House Bill 3, and we hope to see a surge. And obviously, after implementation, it won't be as much of a jump, so we kind of scaled back for 23 and 24. We do have our same beginning, middle, and end-of-year assessments where we monitor progress, meet with campuses, meet with teachers, make a plan to move forward. And then, of course, we have our STAR interim assessments that we take in December and in March. So the action steps, kind of how do we get from 39 to that 60% in the next 5 years? As I mentioned, because of House Bill 3, we have the reading academies that we elected not to implement this year with everything else going on. I think that was a very smart move from Dr. Stevens. So we will begin those next year for curriculum staff and, of course, our K-2 teachers, because we know students don't just miraculously start reading in third grade. We also have our third grade teachers and campus admin who will be trained the following year. And then, of course, any new teachers to the district. So within the next 2 years, anyone who touches a K-3 student should have gone through the Reading Academy. Increased instructional support. So we have instructional coaches on all of our elementary campuses, and because those are typically our strongest teachers, those are the experts, for the most part, they haven't had direct contact with students because they've been growing teachers. And so last year, we made the decision to split their positions so that they are 50% teacher instructional support and 50% interventionist. So we get those strong expert teachers right in front of the students, helping us to make that growth that we need. We have purchased Imagine Learning for a very nice price tag, but because of the growth that we saw, we felt like it was worth the investment, and lots of magic happened in the business office to allow us to be able to make that a reality for all of our K-6 students. So our campuses are using it, and we're able to see growth from our students who are getting on it, and even our kiddos at home, virtual learners, have access. Courtney Andrews is our new elementary coordinator, and she and I have been working very diligently to revise our curriculum documents so that we provide additional support to teachers so that they feel like they know exactly what to teach and they have the resources and tools to do that. That project started in about October. We wanted to wait until things kind of simmered down a little bit, and we will continue to revise those throughout the summer so that when we start next school year, everything will be ready to go, brand new documents, and teachers and coaches will help us in supporting to make sure that we've done our due diligence to get all of the information there. Tammy Haley is pre-K director. She is leading the pre-K adoption that will actually be implemented next year, and she's doing a great job of following up on the resources, touching base with me so that we can ensure that our students who go through our pre-K program, that content is aligned to what they get when they go to kinder so that we don't have two separate programs. We also have professional development for guided reading, our Fountas and Pinnell assessment, and lots of things that we've tried to put in place. We know we can't expect teachers to do too much professional development this year, but hopefully next year we can have a much more robust rollout. So, do you have any questions? Okay, I'll let Susie talk about math.
Okay, so just to take a look at our little chart, when we left in 2019, we were at the 42% meets in third grade. So with obviously our 6-month hiatus, and they're saying, all the research is saying math is gonna have the greatest gaps because of those skills, we really are hoping to hold the 42% this year, and then you can see the meets go up over the years. We do progress monitor, and we monitor with the state screener 3 times a year. Last year, if you recall, at the board meetings, we were presenting y'all with the updated screener data even though we didn't have a test at the end. So we do that. We also have Imagine Math, and I'll mention it here now. If you recall, we were awarded $280,000 in our MIS grant over the last 2 years. It was our Math Innovation Zone, and it was really for blended learning. What we didn't know, the foreshadowing that we were going to need the blended learning, so we had already implemented Imagine, and then on the ELA side, they also had implemented it this year because they saw the growth. We had used it before because the state had it as a free resource. So we used it 4 years prior, and then the state took that resource away, and then we were able to get that grant, and we purchased it for the last 2 years. It has benchmarking in it. We really rely on those benchmarking, so it's another way to progress monitor. And then obviously the interim assessments, this will be year 3 for giving the interim assessments that are those star-like pieces that we have found to guide us in our intervention, et cetera. And we just finished our one, and we'll give another one in March. Trying to, how do you want to say, support our teachers and our pieces moving for those goals. These are some of the highlights of our action steps that we typically take and are taking now. We are revising the curriculum documents so they're more teacher-friendly for math. They can easily access the resources. I also want to mention, you know, I had a partner, Mark Pietka, the last couple years, and Mark has moved on to Austin, and I was able to, and of course, she hasn't been here in front of us, to grab Dr. Kohanik from Region 4. She is the primary K through 2 expert for the state of Texas. So she's really helping us in those areas. So we're really hoping to see those growths in 3rd grade because of her work at that K-1-2 being that expert at the state level, and now Magnolia ISD expert. And as far as increased instructional support, Shay talked a little bit about the coaches. We have 8 elementary math coaches, and we revamped their time a little bit, so they're really pushing in those classrooms with those teachers, doing intervention and trying to close some of those gaps before we get to assessment time. And obviously, we talked about Imagine Math, something that's important to us, and the district has helped us commit for another 2 years at least using that program because we've seen the benefits at the high end and the low end because it's personal instruction. And then I really have to say this out loud because you guys know me. Many of you have been with me for a very long time. I'm very passionate about our math classrooms, and I need you to know what goes on in our math classrooms is we are still all about teaching number sense and understanding and knowing that math is not a bunch of steps to be memorized of tips and tricks. We're not going to push kids that way. We're going to make sure they really have the true understanding of what we're doing, and we help teachers. That ongoing PD will always be there for us. So we'll be happy to answer questions, but you know how passionate we are about this.
I had a question. Can you go back to the slide?
Yeah, you got it. Absolutely.
So I had a question. I know it says meets level.
Yes.
Do we still have the 3 categories?
Yeah, we have the approaching meets and masters. So yeah, your passing rate will still be approaches. They really wanted us to attack, the federal guidelines attack that meets, and I think that's why House Bill 3 sort of mimic those little pieces. So yeah, that's that middle level where you're talking, they're basically meets or above grade level.
See this.
Oh, I know our numbers going, we're going for 60. Yeah, no.
Because there's a total of 3 categories.
Correct.
That are passing.
Absolutely.
I don't want parents to see this and say, oh, we only have 42%.
Yeah, like what's wrong with that?
I just wanted to clarify.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I assume, but I don't have it, since it's sort of new, every year we readjust our 5-year goal, right? Is a part of that.
Yes, we were all talking about that. It's funny you mentioned that. We were all talking about that on Friday going, no, we wrote these on paper, but like if I'm at 55 this year, we're going to change that goal. And we did. We actually talked about that.
Good. So this would be just a new regular report that we'll get a chance to look at in addition to some of our, which may take the place of some of our specific goals for, reading and other things that we've had before.
Do you by chance know what that number was when you took the 3 combined? Do you remember what the number was? Approaches, meets, and masters?
What it was? I don't. I know.
I just wondered.
Because I think in the past we've been above state.
Oh, yes.
We're usually right with the state. Actually, so these numbers, let me kind of chime in on that. So when you see 47% by 2022, that might seem kind of like, 47%. However, if we achieve that and achieve the CCMR goals, we would be easily in a district. Because what that would correlate with is like probably an 85, 90 approaches rate and a higher master's rate as well. So they all kind of go up as well. So that might seem kind of like below 50%, but actually that would be quite the accomplishment, especially given what we're dealing with now.
It's all context. when
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Looking at everybody else.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And so, so making these goals it's hard because, because last year we don't have STAR scores. We have a lot of kids that are on distance learning in the fall that didn't take benchmarks. We couldn't give them, so it's a little bit of a best guess. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, that's why TA extended the deadline. And so that's why we might have to revise these. Hopefully we'll come back next year and say, well, we smashed that, and here's some brand new ones. But with this year, with accountability not even counting, it's just a whole different ball game. So the last piece of this is our CCMR goals. And actually, this is an area which the district, which we excel in. So CCMR is College Career Military Readiness. And this is my favorite criteria of anything that accountability has, because students can achieve CCMR status in multiple measures. So it's not just a one-day test. It's not because, like Approach Meets a Master's. This is looking at our graduates. And so if you're going to excel at something, I think producing good graduates is probably the area that we want to do that in. So they can become CCMR ready if they get a qualifying score on the SAT, ACT, or the TSI. If they get a passing score on an AP or IB exam, if they enlist in the armed forces, if they receive credit for a dual credit course, if they get a certification, or if they take a college prep math and English course. However, so all that being said, just a few months ago, TEA actually changed the rules of the game. And so they are, at the moment, there's a temporary pause on counting military enlistments. And the reason being is because there was some data that was being reported across the state that was not accurate. When you report military to the state, it's kind of on the honor system. And so what we do as a district, we actually call, we have intent from the kids who's on roll in the military. We actually call recruiters after they graduate, and parents make sure that the kids actually did enlist, and if they did not, they come off the list. So we're just make sure that we are submitting good numbers. Some other districts in the state, you've probably seen the news. Some reported 90% military enlistment. That happened. And so there's been some numbers that have been a little bit hijacked. So TEA has put a pause on that. And so military is no longer, at the moment, not being counted. And at last check, there is no timetable for when that will return. They are going to try to verify data between what the state what we submit with the U.S. Armed Forces, but that is not a quick turnaround.
Conversation that we've had, it's going to be very, I don't know right now, without some of this part of the plug-in the formula, you really can arrive at a accountability number without some of this. But so anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so I did want to give you all kind of a paint a picture of where we are as a district for our CCMR goals. And you can see, so last year for the class, so CCMR is a lagging indicator, which means it's one school year behind. So the most recent data is our 2020 score, but that's actually the class of 2019, okay? So you can see that in the class of 2019, our percentage was 85% of CCMR. And so I got curious and say, okay, where are we in comparison to other districts, our neighbors, some big name districts in the Houston area, and you can see we outscore all of them. I was able to find one so far, that's Friendswood ISD, which is a very different clientele than we have in Magnolia, with a much lower socioeconomic status. They were 86%. So we are actually doing an outstanding job. You can see we're outscoring Tomball, Conroe, Montgomery, Caddy, Spring Branch, Cy-Fair, et cetera. So it's an area that we do exceptionally well in, and so, which is obviously a good place to be. So there are our goals for the next few years, and like I said, so it's a lagging indicator. So we're actually already 2 years into this process. So our 2019 score, which was the class of 2018, was 79%. Then we moved to 85%. And you'll see a small dip in 2021. So 2021 is last year's graduating class, right? So why would there be a dip? Well, remember last year of the school closure, kids could not take certification tests. So we lost out on numerous certifications. So in previous years, we turned in over 100 for the class of 2019. For last year's class, we turned in 70. So still not as bad as I thought, because it's any certification in high school. But actually last year in like certification season, which is in the spring, we only had 3. And so you can see like all of our Cosmo girls couldn't take the test, our auto mechanic, none of that was able to, welding, all that kind of took a nosedive because we weren't in school and there was no testing sites available. So that kind of hurt, but you can see it didn't hurt as much as it possibly could have. And also, what I also went and did is I took out any student from last year's class that was military only, right? So you can achieve CCMR indicators 3-4 different times. So as a student, you might get 4 indicators, but we still only get 1 per student, but they might have 4 themselves. So I went and took out, okay, well, who was only military, because not knowing the status of the military part, which ones may not count for us. So 83% is probably our best guess. And as you can see, that would still be higher than those other districts I showed you on the previous slide. So we are doing quite well in this area. Some action steps that we do, we have a very airtight system for this. Our high schools do an outstanding job of tracking students. So we track them 9 through 12. We have spreadsheets galore with names and checks and all this kind of stuff. But as you can see, it's obviously working. We test all of our juniors and seniors in TSI, which is a college entrance exam test. We make sure that our seniors, if they're lacking a college a CCMR indicator, that we schedule them in the appropriate college prep classes. And then we also made a really big effort to increase the number of students taking the SAT or ACT. So all that kind of correlates to we're producing CCMR graduates, which is a really good thing to do. So, on to any questions you may have.
Can we get that bar graph on a T-shirt?
For fun, I actually went throughout the state. We actually were only a couple points below Lake Travis ISD. They were 88. So I mean, we're up there at the top. So unfortunately, the state does not give us a ranking, for district. I wish they did, but we're probably in the very high echelons of the entire state. So we're doing a great job in this area.
Various categories.
Mm-hmm.
What is the number one of the categories?
It's pretty well distributed. So we have a lot of kids that get, like I said, multiple checks. So it's kind of hard to say, but our college prep math and English courses kind of catch all the students that don't have one. Now, so how those classes work is, seniors take college prep math or college prep English, and if they get a 75 or above, actually it qualifies them for instant college readiness into Lone Star, 1301, 1302, all that kind of stuff. So it's actually very beneficial for the kids to take those courses in high school. So we get lots of that. We have lots of kids passing the AP and IB exams. We're getting 100 certifications per year in a normal year. I think last year we had 42 military enlistments. Dual credit, we've got hundreds of kids taking dual credit courses. So it is really kind of a shotgun that we have, but which is great because that really speaks kind of to the holistic nature of the whole domain.
We want to win on all of those ratings, but it does feel good to know when our kids are walking out of here,
Absolutely.
We're doing them all a good service as far as how we have them prepared for career and military or whatever lies in their future. It does feel good. And we appreciate y'all's work, all of you on that.
Yes, sir.
Making that happen.
It's not that we do not love every sweet baked good that we received and beautiful portfolios and warm, snuggly blankets, but that bar graph is the best gift you guys gave to us, and you gave it to us because I've said it the whole time I've been on the board, and I'll say it long after I'm not on the board. I'm not trying to get kids to a test score. I'm trying to get kids to walk out of our buildings and contribute to their community wherever they choose to go, and that does not look the same for every kid.
That's right.
So I appreciate y'all's stellar ability to figure out what is each kid's dream and then make programs that fit that kid. So that was amazing, and I'm only partially kidding about wanting it on a shirt.
Noted. Any other questions? So with that, y'all, ask that y'all vote to approve these goals.
Yep. We got to vote on it.
That's right. So we need a motion to approve, there's no other questions here, we need a motion to approve the HB3 early childhood and CCMR plans as presented. Travis motions, seconded by Christie. All in favor? That motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, what else we got, Chief?
Still appreciate you guys, but, like I said, next month's probably going to have to be pre-diabetic awareness month, for the board with all these sweets that we got up here, but we really do appreciate it. And again, thank you for all being here and your time and being away from your families and all the hard work you do so that, our kids enjoy art and music and athletics, and we keep the dollars and cents straight, and eventually kids are going to love math when they get through it, and they'll love to read and write when they come out of here. So thank you from the bottom of my heart from all things you guys done. So I think we can let these guys go.
That sounds good. Thank you all. So at this time, we're going to move, now recess to move into closed executive session for the purposes permitted by pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.072, discussion of purchase, sale, exchange, or value of real property, and finally, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, personnel discussion recommendations. Thank you so much. All right, I need a motion that we adjourn this meeting. First, motion by Christie, seconded by Travis. All those in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.